Nothing is as effective as defeat. Always carry a notebook with you wherever you go, he said, and don't drink too much. Drinking dulls the sensibilities. Attend readings, note breath pauses, and when you read, always understate, underplay. The crowd is smarter than you might think. And when you write something, don't send it out right away. Put it in a drawer for 2 weeks. Then take it out and look at it and revise, revise, revise again and again. Tighten lines like bolts holding the span of a 5-mile bridge. And keep a notebook by your bed, and you will get thoughts during the night, and these thoughts will vanish and be wasted unless you notate them. And don't drink. Any fool can drink. We are men of letters. For a guy who couldn't write at all, he was about like the rest of them. He sure could talk about it. That was Charles Bukowski from Play the Piano Drunk Like a Percussion Instrument Until the Fingers Begin to Bleed a Little Bit. We've also got Andreas Antonopoulos. There are a few things about horses that cars don't have. These early cars were 4-wheel drive, so just 2 wheels turning. Horses are 4-foot drive vehicles, which gives them a lot of flexibility. They also have balance. You had a road that was designed for horses, and it was not paved. Some of them had cobblestone, but the vast majority of roads were not paved. They were also not dry. They were usually covered in mud and horse poo, because that's what horses do. This is the environment that the automobile had to prove itself in. It didn't start out with, "Yes, great, we have now invented an automobile. Allow me to demonstrate its capabilities on the Autobahn." Instead, the crazy rich people who were experimenting with this technology were driving their cars on roads with deep ruts, where the horses had been, on roads not designed for automobiles, in mud. And what happened? The cars got stuck because they didn't have balance and 4 feet. The critics said, "Ha! We told you this is never going to work. Look at yourselves. You can't even get out of the mud. Also, where are you going to get gasoline? There's only one gasoline station. What happens if you run out of gasoline before you get there? I mean, if your horse gets hungry, you could at least go a few more miles. But if your crazy new car idea gets stuck and runs out of gasoline, that's it. You were already stuck because of the mud, but now you're really stuck because you ran out of gasoline. This is never going to work." It's funny. Everyone seems to drive cars today, even though they use gasoline and they could get stuck on a road designed for horses. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys come in. Welcome to the Thomas Hunt Show on the World Crypto Network. Let's check out the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was up 4.11% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 9,134, a high of 9,148, and a low of 8,713. That's $1 for 10,957 Satoshis. Sounds like a good deal. A New York power plant is mining $50,000 worth of Bitcoin a day. And as we've said before on this show, we called it! Da-da-da-da-da. We've said it all the time that if you were a power plant in a remote location, maybe using something like hydroelectric power that you can't just turn off and on when your batteries are full, you could, instead of storing the power in batteries, store the power in Bitcoin. By generating the power right there at the station, putting the power into the Bitcoin miners, and generating the Bitcoin on site, the power plant is now able to bank some of its extra electricity in something of value that is Bitcoin. We predicted it, it's now happening, and it's happening at quite an excellent deal for the power plant, especially if they hodl. Bitcoin price climbing back to 9K. Here's the key level to break. All right, let's see what they say. Duh. The market cap, the moving average, the support, the time being, the coronavirus. Oh, while 8670 is working as a support. 88 44 is an area Bitcoin is struggling to overcome. But if the price could push above this level, then a move to 91.50 is possible. 91.50 could complete the right shoulder of the Head and Shoulders no dandruff pattern on the daily time frame, making a retest of either the 200 moving average, 87.20, or the 128-day moving average, 84.44, likely. So there it is, 91.50. We are right now, according to their price chart right here, at 91.06. Can we make it? 91.50. Coronavirus will send Bitcoin price to $100,000 in 2020. Max Kaiser. I love you, Max, but I don't like it when you keep changing your reasons. I think it was just 2 weeks ago you said now you're so bullish that it's 250 instead of 100. Now it's 100, but not because of stock to flow or the amount of Bitcoin in the system, but because of the mean, evil, and scary coronavirus, which I agree is bad for everything, but probably good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin investors should be prepared to lose all of their money, says Bank of England governor. Let's see if we've got the clip. Here we are from Twitter, from the Blockfolio account.
So one part is where this whole debate started with, which is sort of so-called crypto assets of the Bitcoin variety. Now, they are in no sense, there is no guarantee of the value of Bitcoin. I've said publicly, because we were concerned about it, I'd like to actually think it was quite a good example of the FCA acting promptly. If you want to buy Bitcoin, be prepared to lose all your money. If you want to buy it, fine, but understand what you've got. It has no intrinsic value. It may have extrinsic value, but it has no intrinsic value. That's one thing. The debate's really, and it, my sense of it hasn't caught on as much as when people sort of predict it would in a sort of slight early.
And it hasn't caught on much. Has no intrinsic value, and it hasn't caught on much. If you buy Bitcoin, be prepared to lose all your money. Thank you from the Bank of England. Meanwhile, Coinbase CEO reveals controversial Bitcoin and cryptocurrency prediction with major shift incoming. Blah, blah, blah. Brian Armstrong doesn't like Bitcoin. It's not good for his business. If Bitcoin succeeds and you don't need to buy other altcoins, what do you need Coinbase for? Don't ask that question. Hey, check out our fundraiser where 26 donors are helping us reach our goal of $1 million in Bitcoin. We're now up to 0.09% of our goal, thanks Bitcoin. And our goal is down from 114 Bitcoins to a mere 109. Thanks so much, Bitcoin price. And don't forget to donate. Hey, check it out. The library at Trinity College in Dublin. That means book alert. It's book time. No one's called the show yet. You can call in at any time. But that is from the Trinity College Library. I went there. Check out this cool book. Whoa, I know. It's the coolest book ever. It's all pictures. It's all pictures. So anyway, that means it's book time. So book time, what have I been reading lately? I've been reading How Music Works by David Byrne. It's an old one. I've had it in the library for a while, but I haven't been able to get through it. It was neat to see Byrne talk about each of his albums. Eventually, every kind of artist autobiography breaks down to a list of films or a list of albums, something like that, where you can really kind of understand what the artist does and did and does. But it was neat to see Burns, because he talked about how when music recording started out for him, it was single track, just barely multi-track. Then it became multi-track. Then it became computer recording. He talked a little about MIDI and how when you push the key, it's measuring that as a number. And if it's too close or in between, it just picks one of the numbers. And that's the whole digital analog thing about measuring things as numbers. He talked about recording as a band all together versus recording as a band broken up into little booths, and about swinging back and forth between that, as well as the different ways in which we consume music now. Byrne, of course, living through records to cassette tapes to MP3s, and also then making music in his home studio, and how much it had changed. Studio used to be I had a picture, it was perfect. But studio used to be a big fancy giant thing with all the there it is. There's a picture of a studio. Giant room, tons of cables, lots of fancy wood, maybe some history. We recorded some great albums here, blah, blah, blah. And now for David Byrne and lots of other artists, studio is probably a lot like my desk right here. It's a computer, a couple of microphones, and boom, there you go. Here's a picture of David Byrne's home studio. It's on the left there. Can't tell which way you're looking at this, but it's the one with a computer, not all the guitars. The guitars might be the other side of the room. But there it is. Interesting stuff. Still working my way through how music works. Also, book updates. I'm trying not to buy books, but I did buy a book. It's the illustrated Richard Feynman. Had to get it. Just looks so interesting. Has a bunch of his writings. There's like a little birthday card that he wrote. I guess some of the other ones are maybe some drawings and some artwork from Mr. Feynman. And it looks like they kind of recapped or took out some sections of his autobiographies and put them into this book. So I guess I'll try to reread those. But this is a cool old used book that I picked up on the old Amazons. But that's about it for books. Book time. Da, da, da. Meanwhile, in politics news, Elizabeth Warren drops out. This is a bummer. I liked Warren. She's a good candidate, very progressive, and didn't have a chance. Didn't really run very well. Ran against Bernie on the left, insulted and attacked Bernie. Wasn't a good look. Still a senator. Still has a lot of potential. Good move to get out. Now it's mainly Bernie and Biden. Yesterday, they said it in the chat, and it happened during the show. It's true. Bloomberg's out. $500 million burnt in a fire. His goal to defeat Trump, still his goal. He's just now doing it as a supporter of Joe Biden. So checking out the politics news here on the show. As coronavirus prompts to cancel the SXSW festival, a general fear sweeps the concert industry. That's right, people are canceling concerts, they're closing stadiums, baseball players are playing games without audiences, and they say they're not going to cancel the Olympics, but everybody knows it's right there as a possibility. Virus continues to spread as there are no crowds at the Mona Lisa, and European tourism is not happening. Not happening here. So sad news for Paris and everywhere else. We're also seeing it happen in Asia-themed Disney parks. Shanghai Disney Resort would be closed. Paris's Louvre was closed for a few days, but did reopen after a few days of suspended operations. None of these things are crowded. No one is traveling. There was a picture from a friend of mine came out a couple days ago. He was on an almost empty airplane in an almost empty airport. Oh, there he is. That's Andy Rooney. Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes. I don't know if you guys know 60 Minutes, but there's a TV show called 60 Minutes, and there was a guy named Andy Rooney. And Andy would always complain about something. So I want to kind of bring Andy back, and I have some things I want to complain about right here. So here's Andy, and today's complaint's about YouTube. So he says in Andy voice, he says, "Oh, what's the deal with YouTube? Why do some people have so many subscribers and get so few views?" So let's examine this. My friends over at Bitcoin and Friends put out a new episode of their very difficult to produce, full like 21-minute, almost half hour, if you count commercials, animated program, and they only got 9.6 thousand views. This is not right. Their previous episodes, like right here, episode 2, got 120,000 views. Their first episode way back here, 270,000 views. Why are the views going down? They have 25,000 subscribers. Why do they get so few views? The same thing here, World Crypto Network. We have 56,000 subscribers. That seems like a lot. But then when we do videos, doesn't matter what kind of video, we get so few views. Part of this is the way that YouTube's designed. YouTube on the homepage always shows you videos they think you'll like, not videos you're subscribed to. There's also an additional step. After you subscribe to a channel, like right here, I'm subscribed to these Bitcoin and Friends guys. You also have to click the bell for notifications. I can't even see the bell. So I might have notifications turned off or something. But in general, you have to subscribe, then click the bell, then you'll get notifications, and then hopefully you'll get to see your favorite new Bitcoin and Friends episode, which YouTube is just doing a terrible job of sharing. So just wanted to say, and then also when you do a cool video like this, you get paid a whole quarter. So if people are like, why does he ask for donations when YouTube pays him lots of money for advertising? And it's because you get like a quarter. I get like, if I'm lucky, I get $50 a month from YouTube advertising. And again, we're relatively successful, right? We've had some big video hits. We had people come in and go and all that. It's been years. But still, if we could reach the inboxes of these 50,000 people, you'd think we could get more than a quarter. So what's the deal with YouTube? So there you go. There's your Andy Rooney moment. Get in the Andy Rooneys. So see what else we got to talk about here today. We're checking out the chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Say good morning. Good morning to everyone. Good morning from Denmark. Cool. Doug thinks the price of Bitcoin is just going up and wonders if Max Kaiser would match John McAfee by betting his dick on his predictions. Already, I think McAfee is pulling away from that. And, of course, he's very difficult to track down, living somewhere on a boat in the middle of the ocean and in international waters. So, but, yeah, I thought he always would waver and cut off a part of his dick and claim that was acceptable, some kind of thing like that. But who knows? And if you've watched the documentary Gringo on Netflix, I don't know. So don't go watch that. Don't go watch it. MS Biteth says Mr. Bailey of the Bank of England is an asshat, and that the man burns in about half a year, 184 days. Ooh, he got to see Talking Heads and the Tom Tom Club a number of times. Really awesome show. Very cool. I've mainly seen the documentary Stop Making Sense. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's probably the best concert film ever filmed. The David Byrne, the Talking Heads, and the Tom Tom Club, which is basically Talking Heads without David Byrne. Later they had an album, No Talking, Just Head. But when they were working together on Stop Making Sense, it's a beautiful concept album and video. Starts out just David Byrne with a boom box. He walks out. They add in, a bassist, a drummer, one piece per song. Pretty soon they've got a whole crew of backup percussion. They've got dancers. They've got video screens. And the concert experience kind of builds for you. And it's just a fantastic video. Just even if you didn't even listen to the music, if you just watched it, I think you'd be blown away. And the music, the live performance aspect of it is really good as well. South by Southwest, not SX by SW. Just shows I haven't been there, so I don't know how to say your fancy conference name. Austin. So cool. I'm sure I'll go sometime. Maybe not to South by Southwest, though. And is it fear porn, or are they closing things for a reason? I heard they're closing schools in Italy, all kinds of other things that everyone likes to compare this to the last one and the last one. And sure, SARS was bad and bird flu and all the other ones, but they didn't close schools. So keeps getting worse. They say Coachella is for children, handicapped children. That's mean. The music does seem to be getting worse. The artists they choose, I don't know. I just haven't heard of them. Burning Man is the real Bitcoin. Yeah, Burning Man. Burning Man is cool. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what's going on downhill. Come to the burn. Come to District. The day rave. I've been to District. That's true. Whoa, he's running the daytime now, man. Back in the day, he was in charge of recycling, but he's moving up. There we go. Red Rick's got it. Maybe McAfee could chew his foreskin, at least if he's not doing it already on cocaine. Allegedly. You got to say allegedly. Whoa, MS Biteth got to go to Stop Making Sense. Whoa, saw the concert as well at the Universal Amphitheater. Very cool, very cool. And Proper Gall says, in France, they started closing schools, soon banks. Well, we know they just shouldn't reopen the banks. Just keep them closed. And MS Bit agrees. That's how the show started. One person and more people on stage. Truly epic. That'd be amazing to see it live. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see, what else have we got going here? We did all the news. We need to do the call-in portion of the show. Anyone like to call? I'm going to put the graphic up on the screen. You can call us now at 1-518-600-1949 on the phone or on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. That'd be great. Then we could chat about anything, talk about any of these issues today. Tell us your opinion. What do you think's going on? Is the price of Bitcoin going up? Is the virus the cause for it? Is the virus a big deal? Did you go shopping? Or is the virus no big deal at all? You can call now and let us know, or let us know in the chat. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up in after trading, but down in real trading. I think it was off at least 5% or so, something like that. Let's see, DIJA, bring that up. And it is Dow Jones. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 3.38% in the last 6 hours or whatever at 26,176. So Dow Jones is down. Bitcoin price is up. Let's get another tab going so you can see the Dow Jones statistics for yourself. We're checking out the price of Bitcoin up 4.1%, 9,132. The Dow Jones down 3.37%. That means if you were holding Bitcoin instead of the Dow, you'd be up around 7% in net. Not bad at all. And they're seeing all the graphics. Yes, you have to look at the graphics. The graphics tell you to call. And you can see my mouth. It's kind of weird. It's not intentional. That just happens. But check that out, or we could go back to the browser and check out the Dow Jones down. Oh, let's go zoom out a little bit. 5 days, it's actually been climbing. For a month, we can see the big drop off from 29,000, where everyone was happy, all the way down to 25,000. Then a bit of a return to 27. Now back down to 26,000. Let's see what else we've got planned for the show. We complain about everything. He says, I can go to the burn. Oh, I haven't been to the burn in so long. It's a long time ago. I don't even know that I have all this stuff. But we could go chat with Brock. He's easy to find. Yes, I found Brock before. I told him to give the World Crypto Network a grant. He said, just keep doing what you're doing, which is great, but not as great as a grant. So, that's right. We did the Andy Rooney section. We talked about the concerts being canceled. We talked about Warren out, Bloomberg out. We talked about books. It's Bernie versus Biden, which basically means it's boring. As many others have said, we have two septuagenarians running against another septuagenarian. So there you go. The coronavirus. Max Kaiser says it's going to make the Bitcoin price go to 100,000 in 2020, but he's already been saying that just generally overall. He didn't need the virus last time. We need to break 9150 according to the chart guys, and a New York power plant is mining $50,000 worth of Bitcoin every day. Pretty cool. We're at 9121 on our goal to break 9150. Looking for a phone call. Not sure we're going to get it. Maybe heading towards the end of this show. Maybe we'll do a little half show, 30 minutes instead of an hour. Tell us in the chat, seen any good movies lately? I watched a bad movie lately. I watched How High 2. I wish they hadn't made it. That reminds me, they also have a new episode of Star Trek Picard, which I get to go downstairs and watch. I kind of wish they hadn't made that too. It's regret television, where mainly you just regret it. We've got a fan of BSV in the chat. All right, BSV fan, love to hear it. I'm sure that you can fit everything in one block, have giant nodes the size of data centers, and still be decentralized. That's going to work. And that we're sleeping on Craig and his patents. Sign the file, sign the keys, sign the transmission. If he would just prove that he was the creator of Bitcoin, everyone would know, but he can't prove it. So that makes your side very sad to be on. So reconsider your principles, or maybe you're getting paid and you're just promoting things. So whatever, right on. Red Rick says Marriage Story was quite good. I've heard good things. It's kind of a quiet movie, an acting movie. Everyone in just a room, no explosions or Iron Mans or Darth Vaders. So that could be cool. I'd like to see that. Definitely wouldn't recommend How High 2. So bad. Just disappointing. Other than that, I've watched some movies that I rewatched recently. I like Dave. Kevin Kline Becomes President. That's a good movie. And then whenever I watch Dave, I always watch The American President, the Wes Sorkin. No, I did it wrong. Aaron Sorkin, not Wes Anderson, but the Aaron Sorkin political drama that predated The West Wing. And, of course, I like all of his shows, Sports Night and West Wing and Newsroom and Studio 60 and everything. So can't get enough. They say, AR says, movies need something fresh. He's into TV. The virus is a tool of fear. Fear moves markets. Bitcoin is resilient. Get ready. And We Smoke Bitcoin says, how high? So high that I can touch the sky. I would recommend the original How High movie. It's obviously it's an acquired taste, not for everyone, but it is the story of essentially two rappers, Method Man and Redman, who it gets far-fetched really fast. But their friend dies. They put his ashes in a plant. Then when they smoke the plant, they can talk to their friend. So what do? They use their friend's connections in the afterlife to cheat on a test to go to Harvard. It's a great movie. Obviously. Oh man, it's not letting me Google search. This is some kind of new kind of mean thing they've got going. You can't Google search in full screen mode. That's great, guys. Keep coming up with this stuff. So but yeah, very funny movie, How High, the original. It's a fish out of water movie, obviously. The two rapper type guys don't belong at Harvard. They don't fit in there. The whole movie's kind of about Harvard changing to them and them changing to Harvard and the two coming together. So if you're into that, I would check it out. It's a comedy. Hey, we got a phone call. I hope it's the BSV guy. Let's see. We got to switch the audio to Roadcaster. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto. Oh, it's one of those fake warranty calls. Oh, well. We're just going to go ahead and answer any old phone call I get. So that's fun, too. Checking out the chat. It says, James Cagney, The Gallant Hours. I never heard of that one, but I do love Cagney. He's good. I like some James Cagney. Been a while. Haven't seen that many myself. Cherry 2000 is a 1987 American science fiction film. Also haven't heard of that. Sounds good. Red Rick's been watching classics. Cliffhanger, Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger one. Cliffhanger, not so much a fan, although it gets kind of funnier, I think, the more you watch it. At the time, it was a really big budget movie. Like, they had lots of advertisements for it. It was a very big deal that Stallone was on a cliff, and it was a cliffhanger. I don't know. It was a big deal. Total Recall, that's just a great movie. Paul Verhoeven, fantastic director, did Total Recall. He did, I think he did a version of The Invisible Man, like The Hollow Man. The Fourth Man was his big Dutch film, original language film. That's a good movie. He also did Showgirls and Basic Instinct. And Starship Troopers, of course, Starship Troopers. So you can't beat Paul Verhoeven if you're looking for a good director to watch their movies. His later ones aren't as good. He goes to Hollywood. But his early ones are great. So, yeah, Total Recall is good. People are agreeing, even in the chat. And they say that 1,000 transactions a second for BSV. Yes, that's great, but no one's using it. And like we already said, the whole thing with making your nodes bigger, to do that with the big blocks, right? So you start out, you got your block. Let's say your block's like 10 megs. You're like, okay, let's try 100 megs. All right, let's try a gigabyte. Okay, let's try 10 gigabytes. Like, man, that's a big block. We're going to have a lot of transactions. Sweet. And so you do that. Then you have all these gigabytes, of blocks on your servers. And pretty soon you can't run it on a little itty bitty Raspberry Pi. So all the nodes around the world, which are confirming the transactions before they're entered into the blockchain, all those nodes go away. And pretty soon you have these big data center nodes. And that's great if Bitcoin's like a corporate project and everything's cool. But the problem is Bitcoin's not a corporate project. You can send Bitcoin to anybody. You scan that QR code, you could send Bitcoin to a terrorist group. You could send Bitcoin to a corporation. You could send Bitcoin to a political cause, right? You could send Bitcoin to all these things. So if you have only these data centers, then you can control these data centers, or you could destroy these data centers, and then Bitcoin's no longer decentralized, and you can no longer send Bitcoin to anyone, anywhere, for anything, and the Bitcoin breaks. And that's why BSV is not as good as Bitcoin. So there you go. Sorry. Come back with more. So they say, first, Total Recall. Starship Troopers is one of their favorites. If you like Starship Troopers, check out the other Verhoeven films. Dutch, Paul Verhoeven. Great stuff. The Fourth Man is kind of like a Black Widow film. Like her husbands keep dying mysteriously, and there's a lot of strange stuff in it. I don't know if you can still find it. I would say you'd have to go to an independent video store, but they don't have those anymore. So I guess nowadays you just have to search somewhere. But Fourth Man is good. Basic Instinct, obviously a classic. And not just for that one scene, but I like all the scenes of San Francisco, the noir feeling, Michael Douglas as a detective. Basic Instinct's a great one where it really draws you in and you feel like you are the character because you're confused. Michael Douglas is confused. He doesn't know who's in on it, who's not in on it, who did it, who didn't do it. It's a great mystery. You probably haven't seen it. It's a little older film probably for some of you guys, but Basic Instinct, I mean, you have to get beyond that one scene with Sharon Stone that is the parody that everyone remembers and see the actual movie. But if you can, I think you'll enjoy it. So yeah, don't centralize your nodes. And MS is going to work. Right on. Have a good day at work, MS. He says I could get a big ticket to Burning Man. That'd be cool. I don't know. I'm not really traveling anywhere right now, even Burning Man. But I guess it would be summertime by then. So things would be different. Oh, I do have a Bitcoin Magic 8 Ball. Do you want a price prediction? All right. Just for today, and again, only for the price of Bitcoin. This is a very unique and customized Magic 8 Ball. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher next week? Now, this is a big prediction. We're already at like 91.30 or so. So here we go. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher next week? It is decidedly so. It is decidedly so. The ball hath spoken. Can't quite read it, but maybe. No, see, if I move it too much, it'll shake. But it is decidedly so. Price is going up. We're heading towards the end of this show. Unless you guys want to call. Anyway, the Magic 8 Ball's track record is 100%. It is perfect all the time. Sunshine is a great sci-fi movie. It's pretty good. I like Sunshine. It's okay. Any of the ones where they're going into the black hole. Deep Impact, Dark Horizon, something like that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We've got sound effects. We've got everything. Let's say I had thought about doing Photoshop Live to make graphics for this thing, but I can't imagine that'd be interesting to anyone. Maybe I'll put up a poll on Twitter if you guys are interested in watching me do thumbnails live. I'm not even interested in doing thumbnails. So yeah, that would probably not be that interesting. But We Smoke Bitcoins is right. The ball is never wrong. Thanks so much for watching the World Crypto Network. Check out the new episode of Bitcoin and Friends. Seriously, it's great. Episode 4 right here, Thick Love, featuring our very own good friend, Ugly Old Goat. He's the best. He's in this thing. Got to check that out. Andy Rooney says, why doesn't Bitcoin and other things get more views on YouTube? Give us like a thumbs up and a share. Maybe we'll get more views, get more calls. Bloomberg's out. Warren's out. We talked about books. They say the death of Dick Long is a great new movie. That reminds me, the other one I really like is Hardcore Henry. Man, that's an interesting film. A little gory and a little tough to take these days as it's kind of been reenacted in real life, but it's kind of like a real life version of Doom. You know, you got the gun out front. Hey, it works. Hey, someone donated. Thanks so much for donating to our fundraiser. They don't know who Warren is endorsing yet. They're keeping an eye on it. I'd imagine if they could get her over to the Biden side, they'd have to give her something. Biden-Warren ticket? I'd like to see that. It's a little progressive. It's a little middle of the road. And unfortunately for Mr. Sanders, it would be the end of him. On the other side, if Warren endorses Sanders, then we got 6 more weeks of winter, and the race continues, which is pretty much what Sanders said anyway, that he will continue the race until the bitter end. So that'll be fun too. So thanks so much for joining us. We might try to check in later. We're trying to gather a crew for the Bitcoin group tomorrow, hoping to get that back on a normal schedule. It's all happening here. Until next time, bye-bye.